Hi, everybody. My name is Joshua Yoder, and this is the Joshua Yoder Show. And today, I have a returning guest as to talk about something very important I've been going through really my whole life, and that's being a twin. So, without further ado, please welcome back my identical twin, Chadman. Hello, Chad. How you doing, my twin?
Greetings, fellow life forms.
Yes.
What's up, my twin?
No, not much. Thank you for coming back on.
Of course, this is fun.
Yeah, basically, I brought wanted this topic to be about being twins and what's life like being a twin. And since you are my twin, I figured you'd be the perfect candidate for this conversation.
I don't know if I have the qualifications for it, but I'll try my best.
But yeah, I found these questions one day, and I thought, oh, we should check this out and share our personal opinions on being a twin and what's it like. And I found these questions online. I was like, oh, maybe we should give this a little fun game a try. What do you think?
Why not? Sounds like fun. Let's do it.
Well, let's not get too carried away with it, though. All right, question number 1. This was an easy one, my twin. Who is the oldest? Well, that would be you.
Yes, but only by a minute. And as our mom's story would always say, like we were wrestling inside her while she was unconscious, and I came out first. And then a minute later, you got pulled out by your feet.
Yes, a common joke that we use is we were born on July 15th, 1990. And every time it's July 14th, as soon as it hits midnight, we say, happy birthday to you, my twin. And then at 12:01, we say, happy birthday to me.
Yes. Try to find a way to be as accurate as possible.
Well, this could be a story for another time, but according to our mother, the day of our birth was quite an interesting night as well.
Yes.
But going on to the next question here is, can you read each other's minds? Yes, actually.
Yeah, I think. Well, I don't think we can read each other's minds all the time. I think it's like we can tell like when the one is feeling upset or one's clearly like they're not in the right frame of mind. But that was something we talked about when we first talked about the mental health video. Was that we can read I think we can read each other's feelings. Like we could tell like when we're feeling annoyed or like upset. But overall, I don't think we can really like predict like what we were thinking and stuff.
I respectfully disagree. I think there's a lot of things that we can relate to, and I think that's just common between identical twins. Because I definitely feel like there's times I'm like, yep, Chad can be upset about something, and I know what he's going to do, and sure enough, you do. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's actually a good thing in my humble opinion, because I think it's helped me out. You talk about mental health. I think it's helped me out in a lot of ways. So it's nice to know that somebody actually can understand me.
Yes, so that is very true.
Oh, well, the next question is kind of a similar one. It says, do you feel each other's pain?
Yes.
Yes.
not like kind of like what you see in like exaggerated forms in like old-fashioned movies about twin siblings. It's usually just like something's off with them. Like you tell, even when you're dealing with stuff, like you just tell like something's not right. And you go and check on them, even if they don't answer you, you can tell that you know what the answer is.
Well, I can definitely agree with that, because I remember there's like times where I'm like, I get really depressed, but part of me is like, is it really mine, or is it something that, could be somebody else's? Well, I remember one time I could be like at work or doing something, and then I come home and then I see you and I'm like, there it is. Now I know what's happened. I would come in, you're sitting there, you're kind of down in the dumps and you're kind of frustrated about things, or you're hurt. And I kind of put two and two together and realize something happened to you. So yeah, we could definitely feel each other's pain, which again, I think can be, a blessing, because, going through this life is not easy. So it's always fun to have, well, I wouldn't say fun, but it's always a good thing to like know there's somebody there that can totally understand you.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it can also be a curse as well because it's like you're having a rough day or something of your own, and then you find out something happened into your twin, and you find out like it didn't help the situation either. So I guess in a way, it's both a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, that's fair. Especially like, you can feel like, well, I don't feel depressed, but I feel like something's holding me down. You but then like you realize you're like, oh, something bad happened, and you don't want to say anything because you don't want to upset the other person.
Yeah,
But it can be quite a interesting ride to say the least. But I do agree with you. It can be tough at times when you're going through your own problems and then you feel like some added weight added to you.
yes. Like, where did this come from?
Yeah, you did this to me. But I will say, in this next question, you and I talk about this a lot, my twin. But the next question is, did we ever trick people?
Not
Well,
really, like because they pretty much did that to themselves. Well, didn't really make it worth trying to trick anybody if they don't make it so easy for themselves.
Well, I remember being yeah, and to add to your point, I remember like being little kids and we would go to school, right? And some of
Yeah.
our classmates would always be like, "You guys should just try to switch a class for a day and see if any teacher can pick up on it." Just like a little harmless joke. But again, like what you said, my twin, we were kind of like, nah, we didn't really care for it because I didn't really think it would have been funny. And plus, like you said, my twin, like they couldn't figure us out even when we didn't switch. So it's like,
Yeah, because I remember one of your teachers thought I was you, and you were talking about like like a reminder for like a homework thing, and I'm like, I'll let my brother know. Oh, and I'm like, oh, you're Chad. I'm sorry, but like, yeah, like I think it would have been funny, especially if we were doing it on purpose. But I think it's like the fact that they were just doing it to themselves made it so much more fun and didn't really give us the time to like just go and do it again. But it was funny, but I don't think we would have really been interested in doing it because, like I said, like just a billion times here, it's like they've already done it to themselves. So why should we try it?
yeah, no, to be honest, I don't know if I don't really think it would have been funny, honestly. Um, I just because like we said a billion times now, it's like they still couldn't tell us apart anyways, and even to this day, our parents have a tough time telling us apart.
Yeah, it's like, and for those of you watching, if they think if that even though now we're older, do they still mistake us for each other? Yes,
Yeah,
yes, they do.
yes, they do, and we try to look as different as possible, and people still can't tell us apart. All right, moving on to the next question, my twin. Well, how ironic. The next question is, how do we tell you apart? Well, even though we are identical twins, the biggest factor, at least for me, is that yes, we are identical twins, but we have differently shaped heads.
Yeah, it's like I guess I could say my head is sharper than yours because mine has more of a point.
Yeah, it's a common theme is I'm more of a peach shape and you're more of a pear shaped head. That's that's usually well, especially when we were younger, that was usually the case. Now that we're older, people still can't tell us apart. Like even though you can't see us, I have longer hair and I'm a little bit more fatter than Chad.
Oh, my twin! How many times I have to tell you I have a different metabolism than you?
Meh, but still people can't tell us apart.
It's still enjoyable. Like you would think that that joke wouldn't get old, but in reality, it's actually quite fun.
Yeah, no, it definitely can be quite interesting to say the least. The next question is, I don't know about this one. It says, which twin is smarter? I don't know about that one. I think we're equally dumb.
Oh, I don't. Well, I don't. That's the thing that kind of like bothers me is that like they think that like with twins, when this situation here is, like, I think twins are usually at the same IQ. I think it's just it depends on like what their interests are really. Like I don't think either one is more intelligent than the other. I think it's just more of like one might be a little better at this than this one, and then the vice versa. Like we were both good at math.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I think it's one of the questions later on, but we can answer that later. But I think one of the things too that when it a common misconception when it comes about twins is that we may like the same stuff, but we may go about it differently.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think it's like I think it's more like goes back to like with math, like I could be better at multiplication than you, or you could be better at subtraction than me. Like it really doesn't really depend on like really intelligence, because I think with twins is like they have a similar, like I said before, it's like they have a similar level of like knowledge and ability. It's just expressed that in different ways.
No, I agree. I agree with that, but I just say we're equally dumb.
Speak for yourself.
speaking of speaking of us laughing, my twin, here's the next question. Which one of us is funnier? I don't know. I don't
I'm
know.
not sure. I think honestly, it really depends on like this, like on this situation when we're in a public area. I think it really depends on like timing, which like I feel like when it comes to me and you, I feel like we're better off as like kind of like the kind of people you see on Whose Line Is It Anyway, kind of just like improv. We're just in the moment. We're not really like professional comedians and stuff. So I can't really tell which one of us would be funnier. I think it'd just be more like who has the better timing.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with that to an extent, but one of the things that I think you can be funny, my twin, but I think a lot of times when you're funny is you kind of, I don't want to make you sound like you're stupid or anything when I say this, but it's like you say something, you say something and everyone just starts laughing and you're like, what did I say? Like you're funny without realizing it. Like you just come out of nowhere with it. Like you make a joke about like a little backstory here, people. We were hanging out one time, and my twin said something. He's like, "Oh yeah, I really like listening to that guy Charles Ray. It's Ray Charles, Chad."
We agreed that we would never speak of that again.
I'm just using as a little example. It was just something out of nowhere, you know.
Well, I think that's like, which is again like with our mental problems, is that like we kind of misspeak words. It's almost kind of like someone with dyslexia, like they could mistake a word that starts with a B with a D instead by accident.
Well, and to be fair, we were pretty much sheltered for most of our lives, really. And sometimes when we make a joke or say something, everyone would laugh, and we were like, "What?" Like, and they're like, so we did a lot of times we could say something, and people would be like thinking something else, even though we're thinking about something totally different.
Yes.
But let's move on. But let's move on to the next one, which I think this is an easy answer. Which one of us is prettier?
Our twins. How can we decide who's prettier?
I'll just say there's a reason why we don't have our cameras on.
Hey, hey. I think we're good looking. We just prefer to use this. Gives a little variety.
Speak for yourself. I think I'm ugly.
Oh, you sell yourself too short, my twin.
Let's get back to the more positive stuff here. Now, this is an interesting question. Did we ever have our own secret language? Yes, we do actually.
Yeah, I feel like I don't. I think it was like I think it was just again like we've both been in kind of like storytelling. I mean, I'm not that good of a writer, but I've always been more like the world builder and creativity. I guess like you say, I'm the concept guy.
Well,
Like,
hold on, my friend. I think you misunderstood the question. It says, did we have our own language? Like, did we speak in tongue to each other, but we understood, but nobody else did? And yes, we have actually.
yeah, we have. Like, I don't think we've done it recently, but
It definitely happened a lot when we were kids because,
yeah,
like we said, we didn't really have the best social experience. We're not really good socially. Not that we don't mind people. It's just like I said, we were sheltered our whole lives, and we just
well, for obvious reasons, because we mentioned it before in our past time we were talking together.
yeah.
But no, I think it's like we did have our own language, which like for kids, like it just helped us out with a lot of stuff. And
Yeah, and like probably, I mean, it was. Yeah, I'm kind of speaking in tongue right now, but it was really more when we were kids, and we still do to some degree. But I think we still try to be like we're trying to be more open and honest with people nowadays. But we definitely have our own language.
yeah,
But moving on to the next question is, well, this is interesting. What's it like being a twin? Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I like it, and like I said before, I think what I like most about it is, no matter how depressing I can get, there's always going to be that one person I know I can relate to, and that's you, my twin.
Thank you, Mike. And vice versa. Like I think for me too, it's like I'm the same. It's like it just feels normal to me because again we've been like this our whole lives. Is and I think that like it is something unique, but it can be a little frustrating, especially when people like think you're someone else or you're your twin and not you. Like
I don't see that as frustrating. I think the only thing that really I could say it would be frustrating about being a twin is that say like you did something and people were like, oh well, Josh probably would do that too, and I'm like, no, not really.
no, I think it's more of like yeah, like I guess that makes sense. What you're saying is like just because like one person does it, that means they both do it. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's actually a common misconception I think with twins is that like I said, well, I mean, for example, like I said, I like we both like pro wrestling, but I'm more of the technical, like Japan style. Where Chad, I mean, even though Chad doesn't necessarily mind my style, he's more into the hardcore, going through tables and stuff like that, which I don't mind. It's just I don't
Well,
think
it's
it's
more of like aggressive approach, kind of like what you see back in the days of like when Vader fought Cactus Jack in WCW. Like you don't really need to use weapons and all that stuff there, but it was just like the sense of physicality. Like they're actually like wrestling. They're actually hitting each other. Like it actually shows like it's an actual battle instead of like a script. You know what I mean?
no, I agree with that, but I'm just saying like we may not necessarily agree on which one's better, but we definitely don't mind the different styles.
Yes, that's very quite true.
I mean, there's just definitely some, like I said, we definitely are similar in some ways, but we're also different in a lot of more ways than I think people fully realize. And I think another thing too, like I do agree with what you said earlier too, my twin, is like things like to us being twins is normal, but we also have to remember that we're kind of a rarity. Not that's not saying that that's neither good nor bad. It's not necessarily any of that. It's just most likely you're going to have like maybe just one person who is either an only child or have a sibling, but never a twin. Where like,
Yeah, it's very rare, like for like something like this to happen. Like it's even rarer to have like triplets, which is like more than two people having look alike.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, and I think again, I'm thankful that I have you, my twin, is just because for those of you who don't know, we have an older brother, and he can't fully understand what it's like to be a twin. So I understand that it's not everyone can fully understand, and that's okay. That's it's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Exactly. It's just a concept of it's just a factor in our lives.
Uh the next speaking of which, the next question, speaking of similarities, do we like the same foods?
Yes. Yes, we do. I guess we always liked some of the same foods, just like every other people. Like it's like we like pizza, obviously, hot dogs, hugs, hugs.
Yeah. I mean, we do have a little bit of similar. We do have a little bit of a difference, more recently. For those of you that may or may not know, I'm a vegetarian,
Yes.
so I do eat a lot of the same stuff that my twin does. But even before I became a vegetarian, when I started, eating, other stuff, we would eat pizza. I prefer a nice simple cheese pizza. Where on the other side, my twin here likes pepperoni.
Well, I think this is a way to help tell us apart because there are times where it's like when we have like pizza or something like that. Because normally I would eat cheese myself, but if I wanted like my own slices and I wanted to make sure I had some stuff left over, I would try to be different from yours so we could tell ours apart.
Yeah, and even then, people still can't figure us out. But yeah, and I think also another thing too we like that are very similar. We do like ourselves some shells and cheese.
Yes, it's a very nice and simple meal to make.
Indeed, and we sometimes would get and I mean we do like say for example milkshakes, but I sometimes prefer strawberry where you prefer chocolate.
Or banana. It depends on where we're at.
Well, fair enough, my twin. But here's an interesting question. Did we dress alike when we were kids? Yes, but it was really
It was different colors.
yes. Well, they were different colors, but it was also we did dress up alike, but that was just because it was out of necessity. You know,
Yeah,
we
yeah, like
didn't,
we,
yeah, we didn't really have much growing up, and and stuff like that. So it was kind of a necessity thing. Oh, and right there, that's another thing we could have said too about telling us apart. My favorite color is blue, or I wear blue, black, or silver. Where you, my twin, prefer green.
yeah, it's or red. It really depends. Like, because I would wear black too, but it's like, but I think it was just a recent thing because like some of the shirts, the stuff that I like, they were only in the color black. So like, so it really makes more sense to just get that one then. But yeah, like we always wore like similar stuff. Like Josh said, it was a necessity. He like we would wear both like shorts and stuff like that and shirts, but like say like I remember one time we were at this church school before we went to elementary school. We would have like two different button shirts, but like I mean they weren't the colors we liked, but they were different colors. Like I remember one of us was wearing brown, and then the other one was wearing like a bluish or maybe a orangish shirt, but they were both button shirts. Like they could tell us apart through that way.
Well, even still, they sometimes have a tough time telling us apart. But no, what I mean is like I said, we didn't really have much growing up, and that's just how it is. But
Yes.
not only did we have like similar like clothes, we also did kind of have like similar hairstyles too. But that's just out of necessity. We just like, oh, we'll just cut this, just do it the same way. That way we don't have to worry about it too much.
Yeah. I think it was easier for mom and dad too.
Well, like I said, it was out of necessity. But oh, here's an interesting question. We kind of touched on it a little earlier, my twin. Do we ever get tired of being mixed up? Honestly, no. I don't. No, I never. I don't think I ever can remember one time where I felt like, I'm Josh. I'm not Chad. Leave me alone. I never really felt that. How about you, my
No,
twin?
no, I think it was like it can be a little frustrating sometimes, but I think like it was never like an annoyance. I think there were times where it was like especially if it was like a perfect timing for a joke. Like I remember like someone saying like, "Hey Josh, Chad, crap, sorry." I'm like, "Chad, I can need your help." Like I remember that like the time we were helping out some of the wrestlers at a wrestling show. Ooh, when they would get us all mixed up all the time, it was hilarious.
Yeah, there was when we got to hang out with some of my friends. They were they were like, hey, they're like, hey, Josh, can you write this? And they're like, I'm Chad. Josh is over there. And he's like, oh crap, sorry. Honestly, I don't know. I never got annoyed with it. I just always looked at it like, it's not a common theme, being a twin. So not everybody's going to maybe see a twin in their lifetime. Or well, let me rephrase that because people can see twins on TV and stuff like that. But I mean, actually in person, not a lot of people probably could like react to that. And it's a busy world, so like they see me and they think, oh, at least it's Chad, and they'd be like, oh, hi, Chad. I'm like, I'm Josh. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, that's okay. You didn't know you're busy. I get it. So no, I can't say I ever was angry about it.
Yeah, I can't really say I was angry about it either. But
Uh,
I definitely think it was. I definitely think there were times where it was funny, especially when like again they weren't aware of that, and we just end up saying like our real name and like the twins over there.
yeah, no, I do. I do think it's a quite an interesting thing, but like I said, I just look at it like, well, it happens. It's just, no use of getting annoyed by it.
Yeah, especially if it comes out of the blue. That's what makes it funny. It's like a surprising punchline is about to happen.
Yeah. So it's, yeah, no, I don't know. Would it even be a good enough reason to be upset if someone mixed you up?
No, I think it could be like sometimes a little annoying, especially if you're having a bad day. But overall, like I don't say I would be frustrated with it.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't really have a moment where I was like, I'll get annoyed.
Yeah.
Well, here's an interesting question. Next question, my twin. Have we ever dated the same person? No.
No, no, no. That would be very weird.
Yeah, I don't know how I would feel about that, to be honest with you. But again though,
It kind of reminds me of a joke they did on the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody back when we were younger. Or like they just thought like they were, I think they were trying to date the same girl and they did, and she didn't realize it. So something I actually thought that was funny, but overall, in real life, I think that would have been a little weird.
yeah, and going back to it, I feel like it kind of goes back to what we said before. Like people like, yeah, we're twins, but we kind of like different styles. So it's like I may be attracted to, you know, a certain kind of girl and or a certain kind of woman than Chad, like say Chad does. Chad may prefer like, I may like, for example, I may like a blonde woman, but Chad prefers like a brunette. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I think it was more of like. Plus, I think sometimes our personalities would also be a factor in it as well.
Yeah, like I think that's so too. So like I never really felt, yeah, like I never really felt like we were ever attracted to the same kind of the same woman, Like I think like I've had girls that I've been attracted to, and I know for a fact you had girls that you've been attracted to yourself, my twin. So yeah, no, we never dated the same person, but we never really, I wouldn't say we were attracted to the same person either, too.
Yeah, I think it really depends. Like I think there might be that rare occasion where we would, but I don't think like dating the same one. I don't think that wouldn't happen.
I don't know. Like I said, like I like say for example, there's like, my twin here, is a fan of Vanessa Hudgens, for example.
Yeah, very talented actress.
but like, and I don't get me wrong, I don't mind Vanessa Hudgens, but I wouldn't say she's the kind of woman I'd go be around. Not saying she's a bad person. I'm just saying I'm attracted to a different kind of woman, I guess.
Yeah, like with different personality, different style. Like yeah, it's like perfectly normal. It's not like everything else is going to be similar. It's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, and even then too, like we both like for example, another reason too, like we both could like say blonde women, but like Chad said earlier, like it could be personalities. Like I might prefer a funny person, where Chad prefers more of someone that just likes to be at peace with nature. Like we just there might be some similarities, but we never really dated the same person or even have like similar like concepts of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's an interesting question though, because I never really thought of that one actually.
Well, yeah, like it was never something like we really thought about. Like, because it was always just something like, I guess we were just like with how we were raised. It was just like whatever goes goes. It's just how it is.
Yeah, and it's just yeah, that was actually a really good question. I like that one. Here's an interesting next question here. Do you finish each other's sentences? Yes, we have had our moments where we've finished each other's sentences, and also there's definitely stuff when like someone asks us a question, we definitely answer the same way.
Yeah, so like I think I can't really remember like all the questions we were asked, but there are times where we would finish each other's sentences, especially if we were having trouble, like if we were like stuttering or something. Like we could pretty much just answer the question for each other in a sense, and then we would just try to go from there. Like I mean, obviously, yeah, like all people, like there are times where we can get one wrong, but like overall, like yes, we have like finished each other's sentences, and it has been helpful in lots of ways.
Yeah, and then just it's funny you say that because it reminded me. Yeah, do you remember Tia and Tamara Mowry?
Yeah, the Maori sisters. Yeah, they were very popular and talented people.
Yeah, we loved watching. We don't mind the Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen and Tia and Tamara Mowry. We were big fans of them just simply because we were twins, just like them. And we some of the I will say this, some of the comedy bits that you see in their shows or movies, me and Chad have definitely had moments like that where like you say about finishing each other's sentences, or like we just say something at the same time. We just kind of laugh about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that there's definitely that happens every day. I mean, every day. Like, it's kind of funny though too. Like if we're out in public or when we actually do get to talk with people and they ask us a question, we could say the same answer and we just look at each other and people just start laughing. It gets it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it has its moments of hilarity.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's just how it is, I guess, but yeah, no, it can be pretty funny at times. It's more funny than honestly, I don't know if did you ever get annoyed with it, my twin? Because I never did. I always just kind of laughed at it.
Well, I always laughed or get caught off guard by it, but I wouldn't count that as being annoyed. I think it's just like just sometimes that you wouldn't expecting it to happen and it happens.
But yeah, do you guys have identical handwriting? No, no, we do not. In
Yeah,
fact,
that one's a little tricky though because obviously because of our tremors, like it's hard to like really like have a similar style writing. But overall, like I think with mine is a little bit more like more lightweight. Yours is more like you put more force on like a pen or something, and like the words would come out a little darker.
yeah, I do press down on it more. Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, I think we do have like similar like a similar idea of what we want to write, but then like how we write it down is completely different.
yeah. Not only do we not have identical handwriting, we also don't write the same way. I'm actually right-handed, where my twin here is left-handed.
That is correct.
So yeah, like that's definitely we're completely different on that one. You know,
I'm the north going Zach, he's the south going Zach.
yeah. Oh no, but we definitely have moments like that, and I can assure you. But no, we don't. And honestly, me being a writer, like I like to write about. You talk about being different. I like to write about different kinds of stories where you do write some my yourself, my twin, but you've always been more of a. How do I word this? It's like in Dungeons and Dragons, you're more of like a world builder, and you just
Like
let the
concept creator or world like yeah, creator or something like that.
yeah, like it's like for example, you're more comfortable being like a D&D, like you like to tell your stories with other people, like see what their characters do, and then you try to come up with it through that. So you're more comfortable doing that, where I kind of just like to write things down or
Well, I think the
read.
problem is like it's just hard to write it down and make it make sense. That's the problem. Is that like and I think that's something too. If anyone wants to know about like when it comes to creating stories, is you have to try and find a way to make it make sense. And I think some people find that very hard to do.
Well, I think what I meant by that, my twin, is that I can write things on my own, which I don't mind working in group projects either. But what I'm saying is I feel like you're more comfortable, like you have a set story in place, but you need help filling it up sometimes, and that's where you like about trying to be a DM, like say at a D&D game.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, no, we don't. Overall, we don't actually. Not only do we not write identically, we don't write the same way.
Yeah.
That's that's definitely an interesting question. Here's a fun one, my twin, because I really enjoyed this one. It says, "Did you guys ever have bunk beds?" Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Holy moly, that was an adventure in itself. Like I remember, we when we were little, we actually did not start out with bunk beds. We actually had our own separate beds. We slept away, and then I guess our parents one day were like, we need to make some room for our room when we were growing up, and they were just like, how do you feel about bunk beds? And we were like, sweet. So
Yeah,
so
no, it was fun. Like, I think the only thing that they were frustrated with about was is that you and I kept taking turns, like going from like on the top bunk and the bottom bunk. Like they couldn't tell which one was us, and they kept thinking like we were up here when we were really down here.
yeah, we did we definitely had our moments where it's like, hey, it's my turn to sleep on the top bunk. It's my turn. We definitely had our fights for that.
Yeah, it's like it's my turn.
Honestly, I could say looking back on it, I really did enjoy having a bunk bed, because I remember being a little kid and we used to make we used to turn it into a fort.
Yeah, I
Like
remember like we used to have like a well, we still have it, but I think my dad has it in his garage. We had that tool blanket. We always threw it on the top and we'd wrap it around the bars, or so we use it as like a shield. So it was like our fort is secured.
yeah, I do. Yes, I do remember that. Yeah, we definitely liked to make it a fort, and also too was one of the things too that I always thought was annoying, especially where we live, is that when we had the bunk bed, like say for example, I was sleeping on top, I would be fine from the windows. I wouldn't have to worry about getting sunlight on me. But if you slept on the bottom bunk, the sun would just shine right in your eyes and it would just absolutely suck.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I think. Well, to be fair though, I think our blinds that we had were all cut up and stuff at that time.
Yeah, no, that's true. This still, but it was annoying. But that's why we came up with the whole shield thing where like we had like a big blanket where we could just uh, fly over the side,
Yeah.
just cover, the other one, from having to deal with sunlight, which honestly that was a blessing in so many ways.
Yes, and if you're all watching this and you're asking, yes, they did have some sidebars there to keep us from rolling off the top of the bunk. There was like a little ladder for us to climb up there at the end there. So yes, so we didn't accidentally roll off and fall off on the floor. That would suck.
Yeah, that would have sucked honestly. But I do remember a couple of times where like I have a tough time, sitting still when I try to sleep, so I'm rolling around in my bed. And thank God that was there because I probably would have fallen over. Because there have been a couple of times I smacked into the bar and I'm like, ow. I'm like, oh, that's right, it's there.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I usually get hit in the shoulder because where I had my head leaned up, I would be a little further away, so I wouldn't bang my head off anything. But I kept hitting my shoulder.
yeah, but overall, I really enjoyed having bunk beds as a kid. That was a lot of fun.
Yes, obviously we don't have it anymore because of like one, we're too big, and there wasn't like we didn't have like really any other things left to do, so we had to get rid of it.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but hey, that's life where you get older and eventually it's gonna have to go away. But overall, I really enjoyed having a bunk bed.
Yeah, me too. It was a lot of fun. I did miss that. I remember like I think the only difficulty, also another thing too, real quick before the next question is with a bunk bed, it's a lot harder to change the sheets, the bed sheets on the top bunk because there wasn't enough space. Because like sometimes we would hit our head hit on the top of the ceiling.
Yeah, you have to be careful with that too. And you mentioned it earlier, but we deal with tremors and trying to climb up that thing sometimes can be really difficult. And then like all of a sudden, like you could just like randomly lose your grip. Like if I
Yeah.
didn't have my other hand, I probably would have been like God only knows how badly how many times I would have fallen. That would have sucked.
Yeah, that would have been painful.
Yeah, and then like what you said, we did where we were, we had a low ceiling, so you had to be careful and duck your head a lot when you got to the top.
Yes, very much so.
But yeah, no, having a bunk bed was really fun, honestly, I think.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was good.
But next question is, can strangers tell you apart? No.
No,
No.
no,
Honestly,
I,
like
I feel like this is the same question, just said differently here.
well, no, honestly, when it comes to strangers, that's when it gets more awkward, if I'm being honest. Like I don't mind if people, I mean, obviously, like I said before, people, they struggle to tell us apart, and that's okay. I don't take offense to it. We're twins. It happens.
Yeah,
But I feel bad for strangers because that's when it gets awkward because they don't know us.
yeah,
So like here they are. Like we can, even if we just introduced ourselves, right? We've met someone we never met, and be like, "Hi, I'm Josh. This is Chad," you know, and then like it gets awkward because not that we make it awkward, it's just we could tell they feel a little embarrassed because they had just met us and they like say they called me by the wrong name or they called Chad
or
me.
or
You
like
know?
the other strangers, but like you met them, and then here like say like you meet some stranger there one day and you talk to them and have a good time, and then next thing you know, I'm by myself and I bump into the same person, and they don't know that I'm not you.
Yeah,
Like that happens a lot. That happens a lot too.
it does. Yeah, and like I said, it does get awkward because they're like they don't know us well enough yet, or if they'll ever see us again, kind of thing. They're like, there's moments where they say, "Hey, Chad," I'm like, "Oh no, I'm Josh." And I'm like, "Oh," and then they just get like awkward pause kind of thing.
Yeah, because like again, like they I think we would tell them we have a twin, but I don't think that they would actually, because again they never met the twin, so it would be hard to notice that when that one shows up and they're by themselves, they're just assuming that it's you, and well, sometimes they're wrong.
Yeah, no, it definitely can, be awkward at times. It can be funny, but it can be awkward. Like, and actually, there's a similar question, down later. But yeah, no, there's definitely been some moments where, you met someone and then they see say they see me, and then they go, like, say, like they go and see Bump in the chat and they think he's me, and it's not true. But yeah, there's definitely it's more strangers can't tell us apart, but they definitely definitely gets more awkward.
Yeah, well, because obviously they don't know us or twin, and then they feel a little embarrassed for it, which it happens. It's again, it's like it's not something easy to do to figure out when it comes to twins.
Yeah, so well, now moving on to the next question, my twin
All right.
says here, do you like the same hobbies?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think I would say yes because
yes and no.
yeah, well, I think it's like we both have we both love video games and we both like comic books, but I would say and we also have an interest in similar genres. But I think the one thing that would tell us apart is say if me and Josh were making a story that was based in a dystopian future, like I would make one that was like a sci-fi, oppression, dystopian future, sure, kind of like something similar you see say Demolition Man, and you would be more of like a post-apocalyptic world style, kind of like what you see in The Walking Dead or like sci-fi ones like the 100. We have different ways of telling the genres apart as opposed to but overall we do have similar interests in comic books and stuff like that and video games.
Yeah,
But we would just have different ways of doing it.
yeah, no, I'm definitely more my go-to stuff is usually sci-fi, gothic, and like martial arts. So I definitely lean more towards like the sci-fi, like pulse rifles, for example, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I think we do play a lot of video games as well. But if there is a different hobbies we do have, I'm more of the writer, the drawer, or like I just like art in general. So like I wouldn't mind writing, drawing or like coloring or painting, that kind of stuff. I like to be creative. Not saying you don't, my twin, just I'm more of that thing and you're more creative with like trying to help build like a concept world, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I've always had an interest in being trying to bring a sense of variety when it comes to creativity, because I feel like I think it's a story for another time, but it's like a sense of creativity and variety in storytelling or just for the fun in general.
Yeah, and also too, like I'm more into sports than you are. Not saying that you don't like sports, but I like the concept of, like I said, being creative in a different way. Like the idea of running like a sports franchise, like whether it be coaching or being like a GM. Like I always thought it'd be cool to like draft players or help develop them and see if I can build championship teams, stuff like that.
Yeah, and sometimes when I play my wrestling game, I usually create my own arenas and stuff and use different steps, just for the entertainment value and try to create wrestlers and storylines through that.
Yeah, so like it kind of goes back to what we answered earlier too. Like we do have a lot of the same hobbies, but we just go about it a little bit differently than one another, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely. Next question here. Any funny mix-up stories?
Oh,
Oh,
I already have one in mind.
oh, what's that one, my twin?
I can't remember the person's name, but I think he was friends with our dad. That he hadn't seen us since we were kids, and he comes up to me and he's all patting because he used to know you write your sports and stuff for hometown sports. And he comes up to me and he talks to me about how how great the story are, and he goes so how you been, Josh? And I'm like, I'm Chad, and I'm like, oh crap, because I was there and I was and it just made me laugh half because it was no, yeah, and I explained to him who we were, we were twins, oh crap, that's right. And he gets he wasn't mad, he was more sarcastic mad. He was like, you two set me up, didn't you? You tricked me into thinking you were Josh.
Oh man, we got a bunch of different ones we can talk about, you know. Like, and the worst part is like a lot of them is we don't even try to. That's the worst part.
No, that's the best part. Like people say, like you got to put some effort into it. Sometimes it's very relaxing and rewarding. We don't need to put in.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like people, but like the question is, you got any funny mix-up stories? I said most of them is because we don't even try. It just happens. Like I got a couple of them. Like the one that popped up was a kind of a one. I feel bad. Sorry, mom. But my mother was getting ready to do the dishes, right? And she looks at me and she goes, "Hey, Chad, can you help me do the dishes?" So I'm literally just standing there for a few seconds. I turn around and walk away and go up to the steps and be like, "Hey, Chad, mom wants you to help do the dishes." And she just like, "Okay, Joshua, smart arse."
I remember that because I wasn't even at the top of the steps yet, and she says like, "Never mind, Chad. Josh will do it." It was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was just funny little things like that. I just think are hilarious. Or like, be like, like, or for example, like you help out at a local diner here where we live, and people are like, "Hey, Chad, could you go down to get Chad?" I'm like, "Well, we can make Chad walk home if that's what helps you out." Like, you know, funny stuff like that. Or
like that time where like I think it was in high school. We were in gym class together and we were playing flag football, and someone like we were on opposite teams. We were playing against each other, and someone from the team threw it at me, thinking that I was you, and I scored the touchdown.
that's one way to get an interception.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned in school, like they don't do it anymore, which I think is unfortunate. But remember when we were younger, we played dodgeball.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Like, I mean,
Like
I think it was our fault why they don't really do stuff with dodgeball anymore. Because I remember when I don't remember who it was, but someone offered the idea of using basketballs.
Just stop it. Stop it. No, we were using foam balls, so it wasn't anything bad, people. My goodness. But no, but going back to the funny part, or for some odd reason, they decide to put us on the same team. Right?
Yeah.
I think you got hit, and one of the teachers was like, "Well, Josh is out," and I'm yelling like, "I'm over here," and she's like, "Oh, Chad's out." like they couldn't tell us apart.
That's what it made it so much adorable too. Because I remember
like I supposedly got eliminated, even though it was you. I will say this was one of the scariest. Well, one of the scariest mix-ups that I ever had, and it didn't even involve you, my twin. It involved another person that had the same name as me.
Yeah,
and I almost got kicked out of high school because of it. And I was like,
I remember that story because like there was apparently a senior that had your same first and last name. That was terrifying.
Yeah, no, like I got called into the office, and they're like, the vice principal at the time was like, "Why have you missed so many days at school?" And I'm like, "Sir, I never missed a day of school. What are you talking about?" And it says, like, "Why are you like it says right here, you've missed so many days of school." I'm like, "Sir, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never missed." And thank goodness a secretary walked in and she saw me and she's like, "That's not the guy." I was like, "Man, I thought I was going to get kicked out of school." And I'm like, "I didn't do anything wrong." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, thank God that person's there." I was like, "Oh, that would have sucked." Yeah. The guy was a senior while I was like a freshman or sophomore. But I was like, man, that one was scary. But going back to some of the funny ones, like you know, like simple, and some of them are just simple little things too. Like, you know, our dad asked us for help, and it's kind of a similar thing with my mom. He's like, "Hey, Chad, why don't you help me, you know, take care of this at the shop?" And I'm like, "I'll go get him." And my dad's like, "Okay, Josh, come over here then." So
I think there was that. And the best part is sometimes me and you don't even have to be together to get mixed up. Like I went with
we don't.
Remember that one time, like mom, I was with mom, and I think we were doing something together, and I accidentally was like, I think I was kicking some stones and stuff, and she was yelling at me like, "Josh, quit kicking that stuff around." Oh, and I'm like, and I didn't say anything, and then it's like, and then she came up, and she talked to you about that, and she's like, "Mom, I wasn't there," and she's like, "Oh, dang it, you're right. Chad, you smarty pants. Why didn't you tell me?"
Yeah, you're trying to get me in trouble, weren't you?
No, I just wanted to see how long it took her to figure it out.
Yeah, but it's just funny. Like people are like, like the question earlier, people are like, did you guys ever trick people? I'm like, we never did because we didn't need to.
Yeah, the work was done for ourselves. We just
Yeah.
basked in the glory of it.
I wouldn't call it glory. It's more like hysteria. But it's just, no, but no, there's definitely, I'm sure there's probably more we can remember, but man, there was definitely some interesting moments where like, heck, even times where obviously we couldn't remember because we were wee little, but like, thankfully we have this old videotape talk about people mixing us up, right? And we
Yeah,
don't even need to try. Like we found this old tape, as we got older about when we were little babies, with our nan and pap, and they were like, they were doing like this family like video thing. Like,
yeah.
yeah, they were trying to do like something about like the history of our family on my mom's side, I should say. And they were like recording everything, and they showed me and Chad as little babies,
Yeah.
and even then they were like having trouble figuring us out. I remember our papa, Uncle Merle, had the camera, and he was like showcasing like, hey, here's the new additions to the family, it's me and Chad, and
Yeah.
and our pap was explaining to him who is who, and Merle, like literally, he just explained to him who we were, and he's like, "Wait, is this one Chad?" so, so, like, yeah, we didn't need to do anything. Like, we were just all, they just couldn't tell us apart. But it made it for a good time. I will say that.
Yeah, it's good memories. Good memories.
Indeed. But moving on to the next question here. This is kind of an interesting question because neither one of us are dating, but would you guys ever do a double wedding?
That would be kind of. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much expected. What a lot of people would expect from twin siblings, but I don't. I don't think. I don't. I think it would be funny if we did, but I wouldn't feel bad if we didn't.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, not trying to get depressing, but it's like I never really thought about that stuff, honestly. I mean, would it be cool to, fall in love and, get married? Well, yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah,
I don't,
but I
I
don't
don't
think
see it.
I don't think it would be a total loss for us if we were got married on the same day with our wives. If we ever got married, like I don't think. I mean, it would be like I said earlier, it'd be funny, but I don't think it would be that big of a loss if it didn't happen.
Yeah, I never really thought of that, honestly. Like if we did it on different days, fine, but if have on the same day, cool. But yeah, I never really thought about that actually. That's an interesting question.
Yeah,
But so I guess also another question, I guess you could say like do we have like similar like friends? Like, yeah, I guess we do have like similar friends, and all that stuff, but we usually talk about different things, and all that other stuff.
yeah. I think I would say we have like friends that we both known for years, and then we would have like people that we hang out with that were a little different. But yeah, but I guess in a sense we have similar. I guess overall we would have similar friends.
Yeah, and another thing too, I think it's another common theme when it comes to twins is a thing called separation anxiety. And yeah, I definitely think there's definitely a legitimacy to that because even though I know where you are, I still sometimes like when I go out to write things for hometown sports, or just do anything in general on my own, I do think about you a lot, my twin, because I do worry, being too far away from you or, and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
yeah, the separation anxiety is definitely there.
yeah. I agree with that. I think that separation anxiety does happen, and oh, hey, Oh, here, yeah. Can I ask? There's a question right here. My twin is right if I ask. If I can say it.
Go for it.
What are your thoughts of being twins yourselves? What would most likely be the most common stereotype of twins between you guys? Is it kind of like what you see in the like the twins wearing the same outfits, or like one twin being this and one twin being that? Honestly, I think the real answer to that is a bit of both, because like you and I, we both would have like similar like style like clothes wearing. Like we both would be wearing like cargo shorts and like a t-shirt or something like that. But I think also there are times where it's like if we wanted to do something like if we wanted to do something there, but we would each time have a different way of doing it.
Yeah, no, I think I mean, stereotypes are there for a reason,
Yeah,
in my humble opinion. I mean, you could definitely see it. So, like, I definitely agree with it. Like, we definitely have, like I said, similar things. But, like, say, for example, I might like to wear, we both may like to wear, like, cargo shorts, but I prefer to wear, like, black cargo shorts, while you prefer to wear more like a lighter color. Or, not
or like
saying
an
that
awesome camo look.
Yeah, like, well, what I'm saying is like we kind of been talking about it all, this episode is just like,
Yeah,
yeah, we like a lot of similar stuff, but we go about it a little bit differently. Like I said, like my favorite color is blue, while he prefers green.
yeah, yeah. So I'd say like the best answer for me there is like it's a bit of both.
Yeah, like and I think that's just stuff that I think people need to like, realize about twins is like, yeah, we have
Yeah, I think it's like a combination of like why like on the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, the Sprouse twins, like they were twin brothers, and like I mean, obviously it's part of fiction. Like everybody was like one of them would be this type of character, while the other one would be this. But then there would be times like when you go like say like on a horror show and you see twins like dressed in the same, talking the same at the same time, like it's a bit of both, really. Like in real life, like I think it's just those two different stereotypes are just exaggerated for the sake of entertainment, of course.
Yeah, and I think that kind of proves that. Like we talk about like Tia and Tamara Mowry, the Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, and then you got like you said earlier about the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, those twins. You definitely have the one that's more, open to things, where someone's maybe more reserved, where someone definitely may be, maybe the smarter one, while the other one's more laid back. Like I probably maybe take myself, maybe try, I don't know how to say this. Maybe I take myself too seriously. Like I try to work hard because I want to just do good and like, achieve something. Where I
Yeah.
think you, my twin, you're kind of more like laid back, where you're like, you want to accomplish something, but you also don't want to like put unnecessary pressure on things. Like that
Or
makes
like
sense.
or like blow like have your mind blown off. Like because like I feel like that's like with anxiety too. Like you don't want to go overboard with thinking and then you lose sight of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I don't know if there's twins that. How do I put this? I don't know if there's like twins that are exactly alike. If I'm being honest, I
Well,
think.
I think it's like there is, but like what I said before, it's like it's a bit of both. Like we each like in real life, like twins would have a similar of a combination of both the stereotypes. Types.
Yeah,
Like if you and I were going to like an anime convention, you and I could dress up as like one of the Ninja Turtles, as opposed to like like you would like go to an anime convention dressed as two different characters. Like that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like we would do that. It's like a combination of both stereotypes.
well, yeah, and that's fine. But also, too, like a common theme with twins, too, which I actually did talk to our parents about this, but like a lot of twins usually have similar names.
Yeah,
We
like they would have the same first letter name.
or they sound the same too. Like your name's Chad. Well, I would have been Chad. I would have been Thad or something like that. But we're obviously way different when it comes to our names. Like my name is Josh, while
Well,
yours yeah, my name is Josh and yours is Chad. So
yeah,
like we definitely don't have that similarities. But I think, talking to our parents about that, they claim, especially our mother, it was by design. They didn't want to do that whole, well, here's Brad and here's, Thad, stuff like that,
or like yeah, like or like have the same first like letter name. Like say like here's John and here's Johnson. Or here's John, here's Johnny, or something like that.
Yeah, like some or yeah, because I often wondered why they made our names so different, but maybe it's just because they didn't want people to like be even more confused than they already are.
It's a defense mechanism.
But yeah, no, we definitely have different personalities. So I definitely, I mean, well, don't get me wrong, we definitely have some similarities, or we wouldn't be twins, you know.
Yeah. Like so, like I said, I say the best answer, and I'll repeat it again. Like the best answer here is that it's a combination of both stereotypes.
Yeah, and there's always, there's always, stuff like that. But here's another thing too, that a lot of people that may not realize about twins too, that we may look alike, but we actually do have some different things too. Like according to the science thing I'm reading, we may be identical twins, but we actually have different fingerprints.
Yeah, like I heard about that. Like I think it's supposed to be a way to help identify things, even for twin siblings, to help tell them apart.
Yeah, but I'm also and what's even I'm actually curious about too sometimes is like I wonder how they went about that. You know how back in the day where they have like when babies are born and they have them like in that room where they're all just like resting before they be given back to their parents. I often wondered if the nurses ever got us confused while trying to put us in separate spots.
Yeah, like well, most times, like even for like from what I could remember from our baby pictures, you and I were actually in the same bed because we were twins.
Yeah, maybe that's why they didn't want to risk it. But yeah, no, it's definitely quite a fun thing too. And another thing too, I guess, and maybe it's just us being a little biased, and we kind of talked about it, mentioned them a little bit earlier. But like we do enjoy stuff that involves twins. Like for example, like we mentioned Tia and Tamara Mowry. We loved watching those shows because yeah, sure, they didn't look exactly like us, but the fact that they were twins, we were like, hey, we're twins too, or
Yeah, like
like
it was awesome, and it also showed like the uniqueness of stories, lives of twins. Like even like they showed like hey, they can be similar, but then they can also be different. Like they were such uniqueness to it, and it was almost similar to Mary Kate and Ashley as well.
yeah, I mean, they weren't like the biggest like things we watched, but like just the fact that they were twins and was just thought made it look cool. Like, and obviously the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody was another show I remember because again, they were twin. It involves twins. And I
Yeah,
thought that was really cool.
no, I
And,
thought that was awesome as well.
and I would even go in as far as like, say, for example, we talked about pro wrestling a little bit. We definitely thought it was cool about, the Bella twins, Nikki and Brie,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I thought that was really cool. And then right now you have the Usos.
Oh yeah, they're doing all right. I think they're both on their solo runs right now.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's not my point though. My point is they're twin
Yeah.
brothers. I mean, they're not identical like we are. They're fraternal, but I just thought or they say they're fraternal, even though I think they look a lot alike, but I digress.
Yeah, but they try to be different because they have different haircuts and stuff.
Well, but that's what I mean. Like I think most twins want to be on their own, even though they do legitimately care about each other. Like that's another thing too that you and I should talk about my twin is that, I would love to go out and do my own thing. But the thing is, at the same time though, I don't want to go like too far away from you. If that makes sense?
Well, yeah, and vice versa, because I feel like I want to do there are some things I want to do, but I don't want to think that I'm leaving you behind. Like I think that's like a misconception, like people get with twins in some ways of individualism.
Yeah, and mentioned like earlier about the whole marriage thing. Like neither one of us are dating at the time of this recording, but like I do think if I am gonna be with somebody, it is probably gonna have to be quite mentioned that hey, I do like love you, sweetheart. Hurt, I want to be with you, but you do realize you're gonna have to deal with my twin brother too.
Yeah, like I think it's just like I think it's just like a family thing, like a twin, not family thing, a twin thing, where it's just like there's gonna be times where we're gonna be hanging out a lot and stuff like that.
Well, and hopefully, if I do happen to find, somebody to be with, like, I'm hoping that, they have this understanding where it's like, this guy's known me longer than you, and it's hard to like get away from that. I mean, it could be to our detriment, to some degree.
Yeah.
But I will say though, it's like if I do end up being with somebody, it's going to be quite obvious to them that, hey, you're going to also have to deal with my twin, and the same with you. Like, and I'm sure there's some women out there that will understand that. You're like, hey, hang out with the twin, or
realize like, yeah, they're married, they're part of, like, they're married to someone who has a twin sibling.
Well, they don't. I think hopefully they'll understand the connection. I guess you and I have, where it's like,
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would.
So I think that's important too when we try to get through our daily lives, where we're not expecting to do everything together. So like, to me, like I said, I'd rather, I'm a writer and I like to try to be creative. But I'm not saying you don't, but I'm just saying like I have my own thing I want to do, but that doesn't mean I don't want to hang out with you, my twin.
And also vice versa. Like, I got stuff I want to do, but it's like, if you want to do that, and then everybody else would like to do, and then try to work with you on something. But again, like I said, it's like it's similarities and differences at the same time.
Yeah, it definitely has its moments, but I think it's important though that people realize too when it comes to twins, it's like, yeah, it can be a little bit complicated, but it also can be very simple. It's just like, we may be a rare breed, but it's like, we put our shoes and socks on every day, just like you guys, and also hopefully we didn't confuse you guys more by doing this.
No, I'm sure they understand. And like when they're like there are other twins out there that get that position.
Yeah, and I often wonder that too, like, going back to the whole relationship thing. I often wonder, like, from the other person's perspective, but like if I find a girlfriend, and start dating, I wonder like her perspective would be of like being someone that's like a twin, knowing full well that, hey, I'm going to be hanging out with this guy a lot too, or you might be seeing him, a good bit. Not saying I don't want to be by myself, but it's just
like you could be like you don't want her to be confused with stuff. The fact that like, hey, that's that I'm you. She have to understand.
Yeah, we never had that situation either too. Like, I've dated in the past, which that try not to get depressed. I've been hurt a lot. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that whole idea of, try not to be a Debbie Downer, but that concept in a lot of ways has been, something that I've always wondered. I was like, man, I wonder how that works. But honestly, until we read that question, I never really thought about a double wedding between you and me, my twin.
No, I haven't thought of that either.
But yeah, no, too. And another thing about twins that I've always been curious about, and this is towards like, the mothers, like, wonder what that was like, having to deliver like multiple kids. Nor most parents usually, when they say, what's it like delivering multiple kids, it's usually just one at a time, but not multiple at the same time.
Yeah, like, because like, and for those of you who didn't know, like, our parents didn't really know they were going to have twins until like our mom got like bigger than normal at a certain amount of time she was pregnant, and after that, that's when they realized it was going to be twins.
Yeah, I love how mother, she likes to tease me a little bit when she talks about it. She goes, well, Joshua, if you weren't too busy hiding behind your brother, I would have known you'd had twins right away. You had to wait 5 months. Like, literally, that's how it happened. Like, when she got pregnant the second time and when she was having us, they only saw one kid. And then when she was pregnant for like, what, 5 months, I think she was in?
Yeah, 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, she realized she was much bigger than she normally would get. So she went to go check on it. And lo and behold, there's two of us.
Beware.
Oh, and actually, speaking of which, we do, there is, talking about twin stuff. We do like the songs that like involve twins. Like we like joke around about it. Me and Chad joke about it all the time. Like, for example, there's a song that's It Takes Two. that song, I like playing that. It makes me think of you, my twin, because it's like, well, there's two of us.
just the two of us.
No, not that song.
I know, but I'm thinking of that. I'm telling you about the other song.
Well, I think that song means something totally different, my twin. But it takes two to make things go right. It takes two to make it out of sight. Yes. But no, it's definitely, hopefully we didn't confuse you guys or, anything when it comes to talking about twins. But I actually had a lot of fun talking about this, my twin.
Yes, it was very fun there. Or I hope everyone enjoyed it, and I hope if there are other twins out there watching this, you can enjoy it as well.
Yeah, if you're a twin out there and you watch this show, or if you know somebody who is going to watch this, please share your experiences as twins.
Oh yeah,
I'm legitimately curious. Yeah, I'm legitimately curious because there's a lot of things about twins which I wish they could explore that more. If I'm being honest, I guess I don't know. Maybe it's just because it just doesn't fit. I'm surprised you don't see more and more twins get involved in TV, or any kind of storytelling. No one talks about twins anymore, for some reason.
Well, I think it's it's a rare. Well, one, it's obvious because it's a rare thing. Because again, not everybody's going to have twins. I think some people have even said too, if you never had a history of twins in the past, you probably won't have a history of twins in the future.
Well, it's funny you say that, my twin, because when it comes to that, we looked at our family history on both sides. My parents, or our parents, they both had twins throughout their history. So I guess it was inevitable.
Yeah, I guess you could say it was inevitable.
And I'd also like to take this time to apologize for my mother for having to carry both of us. Sorry, Mom. Sorry you had to carry a little extra weight.
She could handle
it. Well, that's funny you say that, because I remember when I was old enough, I worked up the courage to ask her. I was like, "Hey, Mom, what was it like, having to give birth to twins?" She heck if I know. I was out cold through the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh man,
that was pretty funny. Yeah, of course, it's better how she said it than I did, but that's just a whole nother story. And of course, I never really asked our father what was it like when he found out he was having twins. That'd be an interesting conversation. I just picture him opening another beer can.
Yeah, he was probably busy watching the Rams or something when he found out.
Yeah, but hey, that's a story for another time, I guess. Well, thank you so much for doing this, fun experiment with me, my twin.
Oh, you're quite welcome, my twin. I'm happy to be back here again. Hopefully, we can do some more of this.
Oh, without question, my twin. I definitely would like that having you around, But it was really cool, a fun little game to play. But hopefully, to anybody else is a twin out there, I hope you guys are all having a good day, and hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And once again, thank you for coming on, my twin.
You're quite welcome, my twin.
Until next time, I love you all, and God bless. Be safe, everybody.
Bye.